Okay. Hello, still becoming. I am here with a special guest today. Aspiring singer, lead singer of the band Nina in the Library. And I couldn't wait to get her on the show. For where she's at. She's at the basic grassroots of starting a band again and really trying to, start singing at, older in life as most people would consider it. I honestly am like, no, this is just best time in our lives. We're getting older and people tell, no, you shouldn't be doing things like that. And I say, no, I should be because I have a long way to go still. So yes, allow me to introduce Nina. Nina, the floor is yours. And how you doing today?
I'm good. Oh my gosh, what degrees is it? Like 100 almost?
It's like hot. It is hot. Yes. For those of you that don't know, the Portland area is having a bit of a heat wave up here in the Pacific
Yeah.
Northwest. So it's kind of interesting just being outside. We're going to try to find some more shade as we're walking along this path. But
Yeah, I love
yeah.
this though. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Good.
I'm Nina and my band is called Nina in the Library.
So how did you even kind of get into the whole you want to be a singer? Is this something that's been like on your mind like since you were a little kid, or did it just become more as you got older?
I think we're all born with certain gifts.
Mhm.
And when I was young, I liked to sing by myself. I like to express myself in song. And when I would hang out with my friends, they'd hear me sing a little bit and they'd be like, wow, you're good. Do that again. And I was so shy at the time. I would turn around and so they wouldn't have to look at me, but I would sing like Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On.
Ah.
I would sing a lot of The Lion King. Um, I I have two older sisters and they were the dancers. And then at that time, I was the singer and I had my turkey baster as the microphone and we were performing for my parents or anyone that would watch at gatherings. Yeah, so I think I started pretty young. Performing in front of people has always been a fear. So
Oh.
just just overcoming that. I've done a lot of karaoke since then, which has helped.
Yeah.
And there's yeah. Anyway, more questions.
No, it's great. I love it. It's one of those things that I will say, I think that's one thing that stops a lot of people from getting into music, is the idea that like I have to sing in front of a crowd. I can do it in my car. I can do it
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the shower. But this idea of like, oh, I have to actually sing in front of people right now. And if I mess up, everyone's going to laugh at me. Everybody's going to make me feel like a fool. And, at this point, it's why do it,
Yeah. I think a lot of where it's hard to start is sometimes when you think of too much of the end goal of like, this is what I want to be instead of just enjoying the process.
Oh, absolutely.
And I remember when I was doing a lot of karaoke, I would meet new people and they'd say like, "You're just low key famous, right?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "No, you gotta be. Like, what's your band?" And so it just put in my head that if these people could do it, because they were in bands, like maybe I could do it. And there's a whole bunch of different type of music out there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it really started with the crowd, but that's like the hard part is wanting the words of affirmation that people will give you, but also believing that you could do it. Because if you don't get that, like when I do shows and people like aren't listening or aren't giving you the applause, like you have to be okay with being like, oh man, that was still pretty good. So yeah,
Oh, I
not thinking
totally.
too much in the future, I would say is like just taking that one step.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I get so much into that with my own endeavors and, racing or workout performance and really
Mhm.
trying to like, oh man, why don't I feel better after doing that? Or like, why
Yeah.
didn't this certain, workout going up get lots more clicks or something like that? And to me, it was more like, well, you're putting yourself out there. Is it about that, or is it about
Mhm.
really like, isn't it just supposed to be about you getting after this? And who cares what anyone else thinks? I think that's one thing I've really had to adjust to. And as I gotten older, is this notion of, really, truly, who cares what happens? I am having fun. I am doing this on the basis that this is truly my passion, and sort of starting this podcast, I would say was a huge vulnerability.
Yeah, I remember when you were thinking about it, I'm like, just do it. Like, why not? And then when I listened to some of your first episodes, I was like, dang, he's got a good voice. This is perfect. Yeah.
Everybody says that, and to me, I think of you in that case when you're like karaokeing, and it's that notion of I don't feel that that's how people see me, but yet when you
All
hear it come
right.
through on the chords or just the speaker, and you're like, is that really
I
me?
love that you just said chords, 'cause it's like, that's like what I play on the piano,
Yeah.
trying to anyway. And by the way, I don't really play an instrument. My instrument is my voice, and that is the best instrument
I was gonna say that is
sometimes.
an instrument, though.
I know, right? And you can change it, and it weathers with time. I think as I grow older, I just maybe care less about what people think. And
Mhm.
um, I think the library has a lot to do with different genres or different things you can just do. And I love to read, and I kind of look like a librarian at times with my glasses. And I'm pretty, I've been working over the years just becoming more authentic and who I am and just accepting that. Um, yeah.
What do
So,
you think the hardest part about getting started at your age is, early 40s? What do you think kind of the hardest part about selling this notion of I'm going to be a singer?
well, it's having other people involved on the journey
Mhm.
because you have to surround yourself with the community of folks. And us artistic types, we're a fun bunch. A lot of people are already committed to bands. I remember just getting so vulnerable because when the karaoke friendships that I've established, I'd be like, how do you be in a band? And they're like, you go to shows and you talk to other people and ask them questions. And so I remember going to a show and after like I had met someone because most shows are at bars. I'm a sober person, by the way. I don't drink. So that was like a whole
Congrats.
like I don't have any like external barriers to create maybe a different perception of how I'm feeling at the time. Like I really feel everything fully, which can be difficult on stage, but and also a good thing. But anyway, I was at this band and I knew someone and he knew the bandmate, and I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to him. And I was just like, hey, I really want to be in a band, and I was wondering if I could just like go to one of your practices. And it was like one of my dorkiest moments of vulnerability of just like, can I practice with you? Like, I don't know what it is to perform with like a live band. Cause when you do karaoke, it's just, the music's already there. So
Yeah.
I'd say and then, people are like, one guy in the band's like, yeah, sure. The other guy's like, no. So like a band is like a form of a family, and it's hard to get into other people's family, or some families like kind of break up and then they're like, hey, we're looking for a singer, or we're looking for this, or I don't, it's, and music is different for everyone and how they experience it and the different backgrounds. I'm kind of a blank canvas. So it's like a good and a bad thing because I don't come into it with any expectation of I know a lot. So I'm very open. And I'm really lucky for the people I've met so far, my bandmate. And but the hardest part is kind of getting more people involved, right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
No, I think that's a very, honest and forthcoming, explanation of getting into, essentially the music business or just the music industry. This
Mhm.
notion of it really takes a hard exterior, or at least an exterior that doesn't really care about, what happens to them as long as they're singing, they're doing what they want to do passion wise, and especially singing. That can be a very just uncomfortable and vulnerable place. I will say you're my first singer on the show, and it's infancy here, but when I talk about passion, that is one thing I do think of. That is more relatable than sort of physical working out, this notion of it's an art form and you can be an artist at any age, really. Unfortunately, trying to pursue your strongest or fastest self comes at such a short window. But as an artist, there is a bit longer window, but at the same time, there also is a more vulnerability about looks and do you have that sort of appearance that says yes, you're going to be a singer, you're going to be an artist, and so I mean, definitely putting yourself out there and wanting to approach that just later in life, just I don't know, to me I'm like that's a heavy passion. That is definitely a passion that simply is, I think it speaks more
Mhm.
than just simply, yeah, I'm gonna go lift this weight or I'm gonna go, you know, uh, run a 5K, which don't get me wrong, I think it's very wonderful and it's sort of where I come from. But, again, I don't want this show to just be about physicality.
Yeah.
I want it to be artistry.
Yeah, so I guess, like, you mentioned, like, the looks. So, like, what makes an artist, right?
Mhm.
Is it their final output of the painting that they've created, or are they an artist when they're creating it? And I think everyone is creating in their own way. So, I think everyone has gifts, and it's just kind of figuring what that is, but it doesn't you have to do it with people too. I think, well, at least what I'm doing, and you're building your community of people, right?
Mhm.
You're not doing it alone, and you're encouraging one another,
Mhm.
um, and like looks is it's kind of like letting go of that ego of I have to look a certain way, or even trying to figure out like what type of artist I like. Like people are like, "What music do you sing?" And I'm like, well, I sing a lot." I was singing the other night on Saturday, and I was at like a different bar, and I was singing Dixie Chicks' "Let It Rip, Let It Fly." And I was approached by a gentleman afterwards, and he's like, "Are you from the South? Because that was not like an Oregonian." And I'm like, "Well, my dad is from, he's born in Mobile, Alabama." And he's like, "I'm from Alabama." And I'm like, "That song was for you." Like just the different, I feel like the gift of voice is I enjoy doing it, but more it's for the crowd too. Like what people can feel or gain from me singing and just portraying that moment and the emotions that go behind the lyrics or how I feel about it. And every song, every time you perform, it's like different. Like every run you have, right? It's like
Yes.
different.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like letting go of this kind of perception you have to look a certain way. I remember I started growing out my natural hair color because I have like a stripe of gray in the front. And it was so hard to cover with dye. And I'm just like, you know what? All these ladies are doing it.
Yeah.
And especially post COVID. So I'm like, I'm just going to try it. It's like learning to really respect and love myself and my vulnerabilities of like growth. And it's like really scary, like writing songs and doing new things and then coming to my bandmate and being like, okay, do you like this? I'm like, kind of sounds like a little kid, huh? And he's like, yeah, but we could work with it, you know?
Aw. Yeah, what do you like the best, part of doing this? Is it the songwriting? Is it really the singing? Is it the ability to sort of like your bandmate there? Is it
Yeah.
just kind of that notion of I like performing with people?
And some days are so hard to show up to practice.
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, what are we doing? And I said, we're booking a date. We're going to play a show by the end of this month because we've been practicing since November.
Love it.
And so, like the best part, it's like all the parts
Yeah.
because they make the final production.
Yeah.
So we will see when we do this first show. No, just kidding, because there will be many shows after.
Well, you've already performed on the street stuff too, you were telling
Oh,
me.
the
Eh,
busking.
that
I
still
didn't even know what
counts.
busking meant. But I just remember when I was young in eighth grade and seeing people perform, and I was with my friends, and I was like, I want to do that. Like this is a performance now, like
Yeah.
everything.
I think anytime, in your case, much like running, and for
Mhm.
those people that are really trying to break into singing, I think, those moments when you are alone, that's still performing, that's
Mhm.
still doing those little things, because I'm sure
Yeah.
eventually, I can picture you now. You're like driving in your car, you're trying to practice those levels, and I'm sure
Actually, what's
people.
funny is I do my vocal warm-ups and my, like, songwriting in the car when I'm
Yes.
driving. So voice memo is very handy. I'm
Yes.
like, "I gotta capture this. This is a good part." Or maybe it sucks, and other artists do the same too. You're like, "How do you do it?" Or "What do you do?" But the thing is no one can give you advice on yourself. You just have to try different things.
I love that piece right there. No one can give you advice on yourself. You just had to try things, and I
Yeah.
mean, that really is essentially another. As I always tell people at the end of my shows, like you are the only one stopping you, and it's
Yes.
very resonates that so much in that same, context of just, you're your own judge at the end of the day, and. I think your performances, whether it be a crowd of somebody walking by or soon to be bars filled, and who knows, maybe venues filled,
Yeah.
like bigger venues filled. We don't know where your passion leads, but the point is you're doing it, you're
Yep,
living it,
that's right. And
you're
even when you
enjoying it.
don't wanna show up, just show up
Yeah.
and be like, "This I don't know if I'm feeling it today," but you just do it, you just put that one foot in front of the other, you'll wanna continue.
Yeah, speaking of which,
Yeah.
how do you get through those days when you're not really sort of feeling like being there?
Well, it starts with a text message to my bandmate because it's always an easy way out if he doesn't feel it too.
Yeah.
But if I'm not feeling it, you just it's just kinda sometimes like work in a way. Like, do you wanna make the money? I mean, and for my case, like, do I want to get better? And I do. So I don't I just show up no matter despite how I feel.
Good. Yeah, I like that. It's a very purest thing. Like it's just really like there are days you're gonna not enjoy doing the thing your passion, but
Yeah.
showing up, good or bad, reflects that collectively. Things do get better. Things do become enjoyable. I'm
Mhm.
sure when you're there, like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm so glad I told myself, let's go.
Or like maybe like when we're going through our, songs of our performance and stuff, like maybe we don't start with that song. Maybe we start with a different song. Or maybe we get like the hard feelings out, or maybe I just vent and like yell.
Those are
And
kind of
then
fun tracks, I'm
yeah.
sure. Ah!
We don't normally record those. So that was just a moment in time. Sometimes I look back at the songs that I've written and I'm like, "Oh man, you wrote that over that? That's so stupid." But hey, that's one of my favorite artists is Fiona Apple,
Mhm.
and when she was young, she would just get in front of a piano. Man, I wish I would have learned piano when I was young. So if you're anyone out there that has started an instrument, just don't stop. Just keep plucking away, literally, because I think it'll pay off. Um, but she would just write songs about anything, and I was like, "Man, I just really resonate with that." And, it can just get you through something, we're all just working through something at the time, you know? We're either coming to it, going through it, or coming out of it.
Mm, that's nice. I like that. Yeah. So I would say when you're kind of thinking of, music and you're thinking of a new song, is it best to write it when you're emotionally like kind of on a high or low? Or do you just sometimes like, I know sometimes when I'm creating my show, it's sort of these like, I don't want to do it right now, but I'm like, I
Mhm.
have to think of what I'm going to write about or what I'm going to talk about. And sometimes when I'm emotionally like I'm there. Like after this past Saturday, I raced a 5K, and to me it was like the emotions high, the emotions there. But then there's sometimes I'm like I don't really want to do this,
Mhm.
and it's like you have to. Like there's someone out there that needs to hear this, and even if it's one person, you're at least someone's hearing you. Somebody needs that. So like when you're writing,
Yeah.
is it best on emotion or is it like I got to be level headed?
Think about songwriting, there's no right or wrong, there's no way that's gonna get you to the thing. Like, it can start with words, it can start with a beat, it can start with a melody. So, songwriting is different for everyone. Me, it's come about through strong emotions, through poetry, it's come about through, doing some chords on the piano. So it just I'm not sure. And I think that's the beauty of it is I don't, because if I knew the method, then I could just get to that point every time and I'd create. But that's kind of the beauty of the experience is that you don't know when it's going to come or what's going to spark it.
I was getting that brings me to the next question is like, is, is like when you're getting ready, psyching yourself up to perform, you
Yeah.
know, is it like, you're on stage or something, you're in the back,
Yeah.
you're in your car, you're like, let's do this. All right. Karaoke, you're sitting there. All right. You got this. Let me go to the bathroom real quick. Let me like get my head on it. Or is it just like, give me the mic. Let's do this.
I used to get really nervous and I used to be like, I'm up next. I'm up next. But now I guess it is finding the right community of people to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Because even if you suck, like I've done some private karaoke rooms and like my favorite KJ host was like, Nina, gosh, you're making up your own words. And I'm like, sometimes, yeah, sometimes like I forget the words or like even the words are in front of me and I jumble them back and forth, like a little dyslexia like hits, like whatever. And you gotta be able to deal with those critics and that inner voice that's like, you suck. Because they come out. They're just gonna be there, but it's just I just do it anyway. And now sometimes I will feel like, "Give me the mic, I'm ready."
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'm like, "Let's ease into it."
Yeah.
And then the best moments are when total silence hit the room. Like, no one
Ooh.
knew, and then you'll hear some people be like, "Oh, she's just famous." Just a woman named Nina that just came out
Decided to
today,
sing.
and it is a muscle, it
Mhm.
is what you decide to do with it. You know, I mentioned I'm a sober person, so with that, I live a healthier lifestyle, so I try to take care of my instrument, and so I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do anything, so it's just taking care of that piece of me. Yeah, I think that's important. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, I think it did. I think it did very well.
Okay.
That idea of like, yeah, I want to take care of this so it lasts longer, but that also that like, I don't know, some days I feel like just give me the mic, all right?
Yeah.
And then there's some days where I'm like, okay, I don't, all right, I got that. You suck in my head, and all right, let's do it. I think that's a fun take on it
Yeah.
too. Is just that notion of let's keep going and let's had some nice
I
passerbys on
know,
this
right?
trail. I like this trail.
I know,
I
this is
really do.
good.
Yeah, that's kind of how I pictured when we were walking through this whole thing of like, how would this hold up with the noise? You get the nice birds in the background, but
Another thing, if you feel like you're having that inner critic,
Mhm,
encourage someone else.
mhm.
Like, when I'm up there and I'm like, "Man, this song's gonna be hard. I know when this point hits, I'm gonna have to, like, either stretch for it." I, like, turn to my KJ and I'm like, "What's up, bro?" You know, there's so many other people to encourage so I can just get out of myself, and so I think that really helps.
Well, and one of the things I think about too when I'm doing, when I'm having my challenging times is, very much similar to that is, I I don't know, sometimes I kind of put myself down, not in a negative way, but more of
Mhm.
that like, well, I'm nobody special. Like, okay, I can do this. Like, the person you're maybe feeling intimidated from, you're like, I don't know, they put their pants on the same way, I assume. So, what makes them any different? And it's
Yeah, it's
like
like everyone poops.
right? Yes, and we see these like these celebrities, these stars, and
Yeah.
they work so hard for their craft. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think everybody's a judge of talent. And yes, when you do really, sound, you hear that voice of somebody, and you're like, yeah, they sound really great. But, they all had to start somewhere,
Oh,
and
yeah,
they
you
all
see their
had to.
earlier stuff too,
Yeah,
and you're like, "Oh, man, Katy Perry, okay."
right?
Up just in acoustic guitar, like, some earlier stuff has been popping up on my feeds, and I'm like, they all started somewhere, and a lot of how good they've gotten is because they have people on their team that help them be good, like, they have coaches, they have people that are, like they've just really narrowed it down as, like, this is who they are,
Hmm.
but it didn't start like that,
No,
and so, don't give up.
yeah, no one's born. No one's
No.
born great.
The Lady Gaga Born This Way. Like, even her, oh my gosh, she's so incredible. I mean, she's just morphed into so many different things. I love singing her.
Well, I think
She's so talented.
I was gonna say too, especially the singers that have
Mhm.
become actors, or even the
Oh,
actors that have
wow.
become singers, or even in some cases, I know because I hear it from my wife because
Mhm.
she likes performing arts more, the stage type of things.
Yeah.
That even to go from stage to acting is like just so hard in that sense because you're dealing with projecting your voice, and now you're not having to project it as much.
Oh.
So you have to learn in that sense of like, oh, different audio check levels and, that type of stuff that, I think, to even that extent, you can be so famous and yet you still have to work at another craft. You're still trying to, in a sense, still become,
Yep,
you know?
exactly.
And so I think, to sort of resonate off that, what you were talking about there was that, you know, uh, I think in some way we all suck at something. And in some way, it's still never too late to try and be better at that thing.
And, like, who says it sucks anyway?
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's like, some of the things I suck, my bandmate's like, "Dude, that was cool."
Right.
So, who's to judge the suckiness,
Right.
right? Only us, and, like, I'm not the best judge, and I shouldn't be judging, I
Mhm.
should just be accepting, like, this is what it is, because when I put a label on it, I'm creating, like, a experience, and, like, maybe it's a good experience, it's all based off my perception,
Mhm.
like, and how I choose to look at it at times, so it's like, these kids, right? Like, color in the lines. Like, maybe don't color in the lines. Maybe color on the wall, but only at your mom's allowance.
Oh, there could be washable
Yeah.
crayons in mine. I know.
But you gotta let it out. I think as I was growing up, I was really worried about rules. I'm an ex-collegiate volleyball player. Um, uh, I don't know. I'm just very kind of type A in a sense. So I've learned there's like this whole creative part of me that over time has just naturally come out, because it was always there. It just kind of was waiting for the right time to flourish.
Yeah.
And so you never know when that's going to happen. And I will say one of my performances, my grandma was a big contributor to like just prompting me. I took some voice lessons and in high school because my friend took voice lessons. And, that's why I play volleyball because my friends played volleyball. Because like I kind of go into things with an attitude of like, I'm not good at it. I'm not going to do it. Well, you have to, you have to start somewhere. And I remember I was asked to join this like softball team, and I'm like, I'm a volleyball player, and they're like, maybe you should play softball to humble yourself. I'm like, okay, you're probably right. But my grandma would just be like this one performance when I was young. I was like, I don't want to do it. I'm too scared. And my grandma's like, okay, like you perform for us then. I'm like, sweet. So we did like an in-home performance, and
Oh,
that was great. So my grandma would just find different ways to spark those. She knew I was good at it. My grandma's also a good singer. Patsy
yeah.
Cline definitely will be one of my covers that I do. Um, yeah.
Aw, that's sweet. Yeah, so would you say that's where you kinda draw a lot of your inspiration from when you're looking for it, or you just need that, like, "Man, I feel like things just don't feel like" I don't know, I guess sometimes for me, I think, like, I don't know, am I actually am I actually doing this? It doesn't feel special, as I always tell in my show, and my, things that consistency is pretty boring. And, sometimes when you don't feel like you're making an impact, you really are, because I think a lot of times the impacts are fairly quiet. It's really quiet a lot of times.
Mhm.
And you have to draw inspiration from somewhere. I take inspiration from my wife,
Mhm.
and even, people like yourself that told me just to go do this. And so, I take that inspiration like,
Good.
well, you're doing it. Like
Yep.
it doesn't have to be a stage full of people or a stadium full of people cheering you. You're actually just doing it,
Yep. And
you know?
you got to ask your why. Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
You know, and you got to be okay with that for yourself when no one's watching.
Yes.
My grandma has passed, so
Mhm.
her memories are with me. Sometimes she was like kind of a daredevil. And she was like the first person to teach me how to drive.
Oh.
And one of her things was like, just do it. Just do it. And so, yeah, I mean, what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
Um, but it has taken little baby steps. I've done some performances where I've like gone out to eat and my aunt's friend's on stage with a guitar and she's like, go sing. I'm like, okay. And it's been very uncomfortable. I've forgotten words and, you know, but it's all, I look back and I'm like, dang, that's cool that you did that. I really enjoyed it and people enjoyed it and we'll just continue doing what we enjoy.
Biggest rush of singing.
Biggest rush?
Hmm.
Oh man, you can't really like build up to the rush.
No.
It's just sometimes it's the reaction that you can get, or like it's very intimate at times, depending on like what you sing, or it can be a rush like anytime. I don't know. There's not like one thing I can calculate it to where like that's a rush. I'm sure my first like live performance is going to be the biggest rush. I'm gonna want to barf. I'm gonna look at my bandmate and be like, I can't, because I was like already telling him, you get really close with your bandmates because
Yeah.
all your fears come out and all that inner critic. And I'm like, dude, I feel like, are you sure? Like we can do. He's like, yeah, yeah. He's like, yeah, we got this. I'm like, okay, okay. And lyrics, like, am I gonna still be on page like when we do our performance? That means am I gonna have the lyrics there?
Mhm.
Well, I probably am. I just and I'm probably not gonna invite anyone to my first show.
Oh.
Ah, I gotta lead up to it. We gotta maybe get the quirks out. I don't know. I went and saw a person that I've known for a long time, saw their show, and they're like, "What have you been up to?" I'm like, "I'm actually in a band." And like, "No way. Like, have you performed yet?" And I'm like, "Not yet." I have done the busking. I have done other performances.
But not in front of a large, like,
I've created a lot of
audience.
YouTube videos in the past with another artist, and it's been so fun. Everyone has taught me so much. I'm so grateful.
I was gonna say, I like that though. Like, that's the one thing is you're about as sort of infancy in the stage of you getting started at this, that like most people would in the position you're in right now, the place you're in right now. I don't want to tell people this is what I'm going for, and I will say I that even makes me more inspired to keep doing what I'm doing, because it's the notion of you got to start somewhere, and we're getting you at a point where, yeah, you've sung in front of little, groups, little things, and done things, but at the end of the day, you got to start somewhere. And I would say, my goodness, this is such a cool piece of that, to say like you're putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
and that's such a scary and vulnerable place that I
Yeah.
think most people wouldn't even venture to call themselves in a band or singing, and you're doing that because that's where it has to start. You have to be able to give yourself that label if you're going to take it serious and follow your passion. And it may not feel great every day calling yourself, I got a band, I got this, I'm a podcaster. It drives me like, it makes me so nervous when I say that. I'm like, I'm a podcaster. And it's just that idea of like,
I know the title has
you have
so
to
many
wear it,
meaning. Well,
right?
it's other people's perceptions of what they think of podcasters
Yeah.
too. So like other people are like, "Oh, you're in a band," So it's like what that means to them. So
Yeah. No, I will say that is just, yeah, it is. I love that. That to me is, it's, I can't wait to follow more of you and your
sweet.
band, and like see the change in that. As I've told all my guests, I have to catch up with them. I have to leave people wanting more, because it brings more realism. Sometimes you get people on a show and you're like, okay, we'll never see you again. Great. But it's for me, I want every guest that I have on to be a follow-up, because it shows progress. It shows you weren't just a flash in the pan. You really did love this passion. You really do love this passion. And so that's one thing, is like, we will aim for having you on this show again.
Thanks,
Um,
Bobby.
well, all right. So as we pick up there, it's really warm out, as we said. So the iPhone kind of overheated and was like, "No, I got to take a time out." So now we're kicked back up here for the final questions. It was a fun pause. So if you could sing with anybody, who would you sing? And again, as I always tell people, but they seem to lean into, the artistry, and I'd say, if you could sing with someone who is on your level or better, can even be like a dead president, you know, like who would you sing with, or who would you want to make a band with?
I think, man, there's so many, really. There's this saying, like, "Don't meet your favorite people because they might disappoint you." So I don't really want to know them all that well, but I do wanna ask, like I wanna ask about songwriting, really. I wanna get to know some, like, classical songwriters. People say Bob Dylan.
Ooh, that's a nice angle as to, I thought more like band, but to come from it at a writing standpoint and
You
creativity.
know about songwriters. I love people's stories, so
Yeah.
I wanna know how they took that story and, like, what from it they turned into this piece of music. So, um, talent is just kind of there already, it's what you do with it.
Mhm,
Um, so I don't really have a specific, um you know, as I mentioned earlier, I love Fiona Apple.
mhm.
Um, but so much people won't let you in on that experience. I feel like if you sat down with someone, they wouldn't be like, "Well, I went through this to get to this," or maybe they would. I don't know. I don't know if I how to answer that. I mean,
Alright.
there's just different people that I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I wanna learn how to sing that way," or I wanna learn how to write and how to capture the stories or stories about other people and put it to a song. So,
Okay.
I wanna
No.
meet more songwriters, and that can be anyone. It doesn't have to be famous. That can be just someone I'm walking down the street and they're busking too. I wanna know how did this happen for them? Just like you wanna know about people,
Mhm.
and their stories and inspirations.
Makes things more available and more realistic and more approachable to get into that passion of theirs they have when they can meet everyday people and realize, "Whoa, you do that?" And you're like, "Yeah. Oh, I could do that too then."
Mhm.
I think when you make it more available, it sort of takes away that fear big time. Final question. If you could play in front of any place in the world, where would you play?
Oh my gosh, these are not fun questions,
They
by the
are
way.
fun. I'd be like
Maybe he's
I'd be
like
like, if I could run anywhere, most people would think the Olympics. I'd be like, you know what? If I could run anywhere, and this is sort of a
"Yeah,
dream of
what is
mine.
it?"
Well, this is like a dream of mine. I would love to buy a big farm and
Okay.
like build a stadium in it and like
Ooh.
make it available to like just people and put on these like random like mile races or just
Oh,
like 100-meter races. All right, first person that comes across the line, you get $10,
oh
or
my
like I
god.
just think that would be some fun stuff, add some
Okay, that
entertainment
is
to
awesome.
so it's kind of that like where, and even then, yes, of course, would I love to, run in some pretty big stadiums? Absolutely. But I think that would be more fun and purist to the, sport.
I gotta tell you, I don't know.
It's okay.
There's
It's
so
all
much
right.
unknown.
It's all
We'll
right.
find out. When I
Yes.
play at s
Catch it again.
if I play at some places, I will let you know. Maybe venues just to make sure the sound system is good. Like, it's just the basics, like, make me sound good, you know?
Aw.
So and just,
Well,
like, let my loved ones be there and, like, a couple
aw.
new people that are like, "Oh, I never heard of this girl before." So I guess it's about more of what I would hope for others to get out of the experience than where I am at.
That's sweet. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that response.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very honest.
So, well, thank you so much, Nina, for giving me the time
I appreciate you
to,
so much.
go for this nice stroll and just kind of see where you're at. Have the
Yes.
people meet you where you're at,
Yes.
following your passion.
Meet in the
Uh,
library.
yes. If you want to follow, yeah, you got to be quiet as the library. Um, if they want to follow you, where can they follow you on
I do have
Instagram?
an Instagram,
Yes.
Nina in the library. So,
I will link that in the bio of the show too, just so you can find that click. But yes, otherwise, I just wanted to let you guys know and keep getting at it out there. Keep following your passion, and remember, you are the only one stopping you, and you are still becoming. See y'all next time. Bye.